Well, I'm back, and this is the last step in the bread making process, baking. This has spent about 12 hours in the refrigerator doing a cold proof, and that has increased the flavor, and it has made the dough a bit easier to score. Now, I haven't talked about scoring yet, I don't think. So what I've got here is, this is parchment paper that I'm putting over the top, and I'm flipping it over. I can just set this down and peel it off. So right now I've got the oven preheated to 450 degrees with a cast iron pot, Dutch oven, inside of it. I'm going to pull that out and put this directly into the Dutch oven. And then I'm going to pour just a little bit of water into the Dutch oven with it around the side. That will create a lot of steam. We're going to put the lid on it as soon as possible after we've put the water in it. That will trap the steam and help create a moist environment to keep the crust from settling, from firming up too quickly, which will create a better oven spring, keep it from cracking. It will also create a thinner, crispier crust. When I talk about scoring, when this goes into the oven, it will expand. We call that oven spring, and it needs to have somewhere to go. If I don't do it, it will just break unevenly. You might have a high spot over here, and it might not rise at all over here, and so this would be really dense over here and light over here. So we score it. The easiest score is to just do a simple X across, though you can get creative with it and do, I'm going to do a cross hatching like this. And it's just pretty. Some people will score the bread after it's put into the Dutch oven, but that just means more time outside of the oven. Doesn't have to be very deep. I'm doing about ½ an inch deep. And this tool that I'm using is called a lom. It's called a baker's lom. It's just a really sharp, thin knife. It's like a razor blade. But made for baking. And I've used this one a few times, so it's less sharp than it used to be. The dough wears on it a little bit. So it's not super pretty, but it's all right. You can also use scissors for this if you don't have a really sharp knife, but I do recommend getting a lom. They're not super expensive. It's spelled L-A-M-E. Find them on Amazon. Pretty cheap. Okay, there we go. Now I'm gonna go get the Dutch oven out. All right. Careful not to burn yourself in this. Now I cut that parchment paper into a round because If I just use a big sheet, it will press in on the sides of the dough and it deforms the loaf just a little bit. All right. Got a little water. I'm just putting a little bit in there. Now that goes in there for 20 to 25 minutes with the lid on. Then we'll take the lid off and cook it for another 20 minutes or until you like how the crust looks. All right, see you in a few minutes. All right, I just got it out of the oven and here it is. And I'm taking it and I am dumping it out onto, careful, dumping it out onto a cooling rack where it has to sit for at least 1 hour. If you try to cut into it right now, it will be gummy. It will be very gummy on the inside. We can go ahead and peel off the parchment paper. It does not cut very well at this stage. There's the bottom of it. Beautiful. You can see the profile. It's a little bit flat this time. I've seen it rise a little bit better. It just depends on when you pull it. And to begin with, this may have been a little bit over fermented at the beginning. Maybe it needed to be a little bit longer cold fermentation. I don't know. But this is done for now. Well, it's been an hour and it's cooled off enough that I think I can cut it. It's still warm, so it might be still a little bit doughy in the center. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And first, I'm going to tell you that if you're worried about your crust being too hard, when you pull it out of the oven, it does soften up again. So when I pulled it out, I was tapping on it after I had closed the video, and it was very firm and hard. And now it's still firm, but it is moist. Not on the outside, not wrong word. It is soft around the edge, firm on top, but it gives if you push on it a little bit. And I'm going to show you what the crumb looks like. The crumb is what we call the inside of the bread. Small, this generally has, this time it has pretty small air pockets. That's not unheard of. It's pretty common, in fact, with whole wheat flour is what I'm finding. But I have had it with some air pockets that are about the size of my thumb. And that's more common with bread flour. Anyway, smells delicious. Hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time.